Hi, Frances and Jerry. Thanks so much for having this conversation with me today as we get ready to launch the world premieres of the first two pieces of this song cycle. Frances, the idea of writing micro pieces for each of our 20 young artists this summer came from you. So tell me a little bit about the inspiration, the impetus behind that.
Yeah, so when everything, when you were making those dreaded phone calls and moving everything online, I was just struck by the realization that this is hopefully going to be like this very unique point in Chautauqua's history. And I really wanted to do something for just us as a company. And I wanted to say, I wanted to mark the way that we were in music and the thing that connects us all. That just acts as a time capsule for this very special moment in history. And so the first thing that I felt like I could do was write everyone a song. But of course, everyone is sort of like isolated alone at their house. Who knows if they have like access to a keyboard or any sort of instrumentation. So that's where the idea of the a cappella song cycle came from. So these are very short, 45 seconds to 2.5 minute pieces that are just all about the singer's experience during this 2020 pandemic.
That's fabulous. You had been set as our composer in residence for the season to have all these projects going, and then when that all came apart, then you had this fantastic idea for a strong pivot into something that is really reactive to this moment that we're in.
Yeah.
The question then becomes, where does the text come from? And you and I had a conversation about eliciting it from each of the 20 young artists about their personal experiences and stories going through, as you say, this very special moment. And that's where I thought, let's see if this is interesting to Jerre Dye, because among all of the many things that Jerre does as an actor, as a librettist, as a playwright, the through line through so much of it is taking interviews and personal stories and turning them into theatrical musical content. Jerry, I was delighted that you said yes to this and jumped into this very, very unique project. So you have been living in this. This is what you do, but how has this project been different?
I think the virtual aspect of it, like jumping into this Zoom reality that we're all living in right now. I've done the interviews face-to-face before, and I've done the interviews even over phone before. But this was, I think, maybe I've only done one Skype interview in my entire life, but the fact that these were all on Skype and you were experiencing everyone in their remote location. And I think that's what the character of this piece is really built on, this idea of the reality that each of us is existing inside right now, because early on in the pandemic, I remember a friend of mine said to me, we have this tendency, we're hearing the language, we're all in this together, we're all in this together, we're all in this together, like as this like desperate plea, But the truth is, sometimes we're not, right? And we're all coming from vastly different places and vastly different realities. And knowing each of these singers are kind of peppered all throughout the United States in their own individual realities, was like, that was the entry point for this piece for me, like experiencing everyone in their private, personal space. And what a beautiful thing, and what a luxury. And I think it coaxes in conversation, a different language gets coaxed out of that scenario.
So we're about, I would say 25%, maybe a third of the way through this big process of the series. About 3 weeks ago, each of you together had about a 45-minute conversation with each of our young artists. And then Jerry, you started pulling text and sending that to Frances. Frances has now written about 7 of these pieces and delivered them. 2 of them are fully rehearsed and prepared to see tonight. What has been surprising about this process? What did you expect coming in, and what has taken you by surprise?
Yeah, well, when I first proposed this to you, Stephen, and then you proposed it to Jerry, we thought we were just going to be talking about a pandemic, but, you know, life has gone so many directions since then. And like, you know, during this time of like, you know, reimmersion into the world and like social unrest, like those were the weeks that Jerry and I were talking to the singers. And so we have this like incredibly powerful, incredibly intimate relationship of like processing through, you know, watching the world change. And that certainly gets reflected into the music.
Yeah, I agree. It is the idea of stepping into someone else's life with a sense of curiosity and generosity is definitely, that connection is so essential right now. So that's, I mean, then to a certain extent, you know that something wonderful is going to happen, right, when you connect with someone in this way. But this has been extraordinary.